heutigen Main Event werde ich von der Band Rammstein herausgefordert. Deine Explosionen machen mir keine Angst. Gib mir die Hot Tag. Klingeln Sie!
My first exposure to Rammstein was in 1997 with their song Engel, found on the Mortal Kombat Annihilation soundtrack. Never before had I heard anything like it, and the song was easily the best part of the soundtrack as well as the movie itself. You know a Rammstein song the second you hear it, because they create a sound and feel that no band has created before or since. Until now. The only thing I haven't heard from Rammstein was a live show, and thanks to Mrs. Mascaris, I was gifted tickets to their September 23rd performance at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. And we'll get there in a minute, because first, it is crucial for me to review the motel we refused to stay in that night. The Rosabelle Motel, also known as the Galaxy Motel, is located just 10 minutes away from the venue and is home to an extremely young prostitute who was way too interested in what I had in my car as well as what time we were leaving for the evening. Unsavory characters started poking out their heads like the fucking munchkins in Wizard of Oz while they're watching Dorothy walking the dog. And once we got the room key, we realized this wasn't a motel, it was a drug den. Because if the dregs in the parking lot didn't make that obvious, the burns in the mirror from smoking crack sure as shit did the job. Speaking of shit, look how close this toilet is to the wall. Speaking of walls, I wonder what the hell happened in here for them to be in such poor condition. This place had Scooby-Doo written all over it, so we only stayed long enough to freshen up, tell the motel owner to go fuck himself because I'm disputing all charges, and pack up the car and drive it out of there before it became someone else's house. Minutes later, we were in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, home of the Olympic Games in the 1930s as well as the 1980s, and the Olympic torch is still burning. Once seated, I was finally able to calm down from how pissed I was with the motel, and the sounds of two French musicians covering Rammstein songs on dueling pianos certainly helped me along the way. The calmness did not last long because Rammstein performances pack quite a punch. There was so much activity on the stage I can't even remember half the stuff they did. Bodysuits that lit up like stick figures, explosions, black confetti filling the air, cooking the keyboard player in a pot, and oh yeah, there was music too. My favorite moment of the night happened while the crowd was waiting impatiently for an encore. Suddenly, the band was on the B stage, where the French piano player started playing Engel, and the German lyrics populated the movie screens throughout the Coliseum. Once again, Engel was the first Rammstein song I ever heard, and 25 years later, I found myself singing it alongside the band as well as the 70,000 people in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in what was an incredibly touching moment. After, the band rode lifeboats back to the main stage where one more explosive round of music and pyrotechnics would be waiting. Rammstein isn't just a band, they're an experience. And this experience can't fit anywhere other than the Lucha Review Hall of Fame. These guys have been doing it for almost 30 years, and unlike bands like Aerosmith or Metallica or the Rolling Stones, Rammstein doesn't just phone it in while they expect their names to sell the tickets. They are constantly looking to outdo themselves on stage and in the recording studio. A second show was added for the Coliseum the following night, but this would ultimately be the last stop Rammstein would be making in the US, and the rumors are already swirling about this American tour being their last. If that's not the case, and if you find yourself with an opportunity to grab tickets for their next tour, grab them immediately and be sure to wear something that's fireproof. Danke for the hot tag, and I'll see you next week.